Got it on record, off record. I still want the act, not the ghost.
Whoa. I love my intro so much. Well, welcome back to the DCUK Podcast. This is season 5 and it's episode 12. And as always, I'm your host, James Graham. As you'll see, alongside me, making a hat-trick appearance, and the first time in probably almost 3 years, which is weird to say that I've been doing this podcast for that long, it's Claudia Began. Welcome back to the show.
Hello! Oh, I'm so excited. How many guests do you usually come that will have a hat trick coming on?
I think we've had 2 so far.
2?
We've had Steve Birnbaum.
Yeah.
And Russell Knauss.
Love it. I love that I get to be included in the list with those
do.
guys. Those are top guys right there.
I actually still have a little bit of way to get to Russell Knauss because I think he's made 6 appearances. I know, right? He loves the show.
That's great. I love hearing that. He's such a great guy to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant, especially when he became a father. So we could start talking about that and, really, really cool. So I've got a lot of time for Russ. A lot of time. So I really should have took a drink before I started, but hey ho. Right, today's show is kind of the usual stuff, but obviously we've got yourself on, and we've already had our first little hello there from Stu saying, "Good evening, fellow humans." Bless him.
Hello.
Stu. He's a good mate of mine. He lives probably about 25 minutes down the road from me. So, we used to work in the same company. He's a great little guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got some news to go through. Obviously, we're going to be talking to Claudia about some of the stuff that she's been up to recently, because you've been not
busy.
Just DC stuff, but very, very busy. So I'm going to go through that. Got a little clip from press conference that I was on earlier on today. Yep. I even asked a question,
I heard. I was like, yeah, let's go.
I was just like, oh my God, shall I do it? Yeah, hand up.
You have to.
I was just absolutely bricking it. Because it's Wayne. He's an English hero. And I'm just like, I'm just this little guy. Well, not little, but I'm just this guy over here just doing a podcast in a converted office, converted garage.
But doing great content, and you had the right to be there, so it was great to hear your voice.
Seeing Dave as well, and everyone. Love it. Go through the news bits. We'll do the trivia question, which will reveal the answer at the end of the show. Match review from the Galaxy game, which was awesome. Previewing this weekend's game against Toronto, and then some fan questions at the end of the show. So let's kick it off with some news. And what that means is, Claudia, you'll get to hear the news theme tune because I have a theme tune for the news.
That's so like UK news.
Yes.
Coming to you now from Scon News. I'm James for DCUK. Here's the latest on DC. That's what I expect.
I'm not a Cockney.
Hey, I've gotten that. Listen, when I pull out the English accent, some people are like, "Listen, you sound a little Australian." So I'm like, "Okay, let me not even try." So that's my only attempt today.
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the accent I know most Americans would go with, is a London Cockney accent. So fair play. If you got my actual accent, even to be honest, I don't even know what my accent is anymore. So yeah, give big thumbs up on that one. So a couple of bits of news. First up, Mohamed Jeze is back from suspension after his situation over in Sweden. Still injured, which means he can't play. But, he's able to take part in activities, which is great. There is some other injuries that have been announced, but I'll do that in the match preview. And the other bit is, as mentioned, I was on the press conference, and there is a clip, and I sound a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie. So let's watch the clip, shall we? Hi, man. talking about the sort of upcoming summer transfer, and in particular Lewis O'Brien, how his loan deal is coming to an end in July. Is there any talk about potentially extending his loan deal or anything beyond the summer?
Yeah, well, I think we're obviously waiting on Nottingham Forest because, of course, he's their player, and it's something which I've spoke to Lewis about. And of course, we'd love to keep him. We do everything we can to try and keep him here. But ultimately, it's down to Nottingham Forest. So I think once they've wrapped up their season, I'm sure there'll be some dialogue with ourselves and them and Lewis and Nottingham Forest to see where it's at and see if it's a possibility we can keep him, because he's been so important to us. His performances and his attitude has been first class. So it'd be a huge loss if we do have to lose him in July.
Yeah, I was actually really keen to find out about Lewis O'Brien because he's been phenomenal for us so far this year since he's joined the club. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I'll tell you that I haven't even heard whether or not they're going to keep him and pay for whatever it is to have him. I really wish that, I really hope that they do. It's not only just the on-field performance, but he has brought so much to the team. And I think there will be a big gap. I think they'll really miss him. But what he brings off of it as well, like adding to that, Europe, all the guys that we have from Europe, that we have from England, he's like such a great addition on and off the field.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about the British invasion because it really has properly happened. What obviously Rooney come over, then he brought Pete Shuttleworth over. We've got Luke Jenkinson, obviously Lewis O'Brien's come over, Sean Howe, director of scouting. He came over from Atlanta United, but he's English, so I count him in that. We did have Lucy as well. Matthias Klick, obviously coming over from playing for Leeds United. What's it like to have the British invasion coming to DC?
Oh my God, it's so funny because when we had Hernan Losada, it was obviously an Argentinian, so he brings along his own Latino staff, and then he brought I think half the team was Latinos, so it's like. And then as soon as Wayne came, he brings along his staff. He's signing players over from Europe, regardless if they're from England or not. They probably played in England, so they know everything about England. And it's the most English team in MLS right now, I think. And you'll listen. I brought out my little London accent. Sometimes it changes. I find myself using English words now, oh, that's absolutely mental.
Yes.
Or I'm calling a parking lot a car park. You're picking success.
Yes.
Sometimes it comes out and it's to the point where I'm not even speaking to someone that's from England anymore. It's just I was having a conversation with two people from the video team, and I think I said the word mental. I said two other things, and I was like, this is not me. This is very English, and this is not American English. What's going on?
English in it.
It's invading my vocabulary. I'm nervous that it's going to come out during interviews and stuff. So it's funny because the other day I was looking through just slang or words from England. What was cat's pajamas. I'm pretty sure they said that in Ted Lasso. So I'm learning things here and there, but it is English invasion over here. Yeah,
it's just brilliant. I want to hear you when a car, what you call the trunk, is the boot.
A boot. No, we call it the trunk. The trunk. There's so many little words. Of course, I'm here talking to you and I'm forgetting all the words that I've learned from now. Oh crap. I don't know. I've got so many. It's hilarious.
So we've had it on the podcast a little while ago about going through sort of different Americanisms to Britishisms and
chips.
Fish and chips, great, yeah.
No, crisps and chips.
Crisps and chips, yeah.
Call it potato chips.
Yeah.
Chips, and you would call them fries or something.
Yeah, fried. We call them so you got crisps, which is the crispy stuff that you get in the packet and you eat, yeah. Then you've got chips, which are either oven cooked or deep fried.
Okay.
What else you got? Biscuits.
Biscuits. See, it's two different things.
Yeah, but the one thing that I always gets me, same term but gravy, is usually beef flavored.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I would like that.
Honestly,
Oh,
on a Sunday lunch, roast beef,
gross.
gravy, roast potatoes, Yorkshire pudding. So I'm going real English, real proper northern here. Brussels sprouts, carrots, parsnips. That's a proper English Sunday dinner.
That sounds good. See, we don't have anything like that here in America. We don't have anything like that. Sundays are just like Sundays. Like there's nothing special about Sundays here.
Yeah, Sundays are brilliant.
Yeah.
You've got to pig out on a Sunday. If you're not doing it, you're not doing it right.
I gotta make a trip over to England. I've never been, so never.
Oh,
Gotta come.
there's obviously you've got London, you've got Manchester, Newcastle, Edinburgh in Scotland, but the countryside in the Oxfordshire, Gloucestershire, which is where I live. Green Hills, just beautiful. Absolutely stunning area. Stu's he's reminded me of my favorite drink. Going to a football match when I was living in the northeast, going to Middlesbrough. Bovril, which is basically beef extract in liquid form, hot. I am going to actually see if I can find.
So interesting. Stu said Sunday lunch in Britain is basically Thanksgiving dinner just every week, which sounds even better when you put it that way.
Yeah, that's pretty much hit the nail on the head there.
I love it.
Let me just. I mean, this is not great for people who are listening to the audio version, but if you are listening to the audio version, go on YouTube right now. Right, share screen.
It looks like I know you're about to share it. I'm like, it looks like crap. What do you put on sushi?
Here we go. So you got your Bovril here. It's just beautiful. This is what I used to get when I was in my old workplace. Just get a teaspoon, put it into a cup, pour some hot water in, a mug of beef gravy.
You know what? I'm not gonna knock it till I tried it. So I'm adding this to my list of things to try when I go over to England.
That's it. You can't knock it until you've tried it. But yeah, you used to have that when I went to Middlesbrough football matches, and in December when it's freezing cold, the stadium is right by the river. You need something to keep you warm. Pie and a Bovril.
It's so funny thinking of the differences between what you'll find in stadium in America versus England. I don't think you would. I don't know if you could ever find that in a stadium in the US.
No, not at all. But I do love a pupusa.
Oh, so do I. I just had one the last game. It was freaking great. So good.
I was introduced to it the last time I was at the game for the Toronto game last year. And it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So yes. Again, a lot of love for the Bovril, actually, from the looks of it. Heather, Stu. My wife has come into the chat just saying no.
No to what? No
Bovril.
to that. She doesn't like it.
No, she's not a fan of the Bovril.
Well, I might be joining her side once I try it. So TBD. We'll wait.
It's a very much love or hate it kind of thing.
Okay.
Anyway, we digress. We've completely gone off on a tangent there. Cool. So we've talked about the British invasion. Talked briefly about the new guys on the block, about Lewis O'Brien and how good he is, and how great he is on the pitch and how great he is off the pitch. But Click, what's he like as a presence off the pitch? Because we can see how good he is on the pitch.
Yeah. Oh, Clicky's great. It's he wasn't there for a good portion while we were in California for preseason, and I think he joined us for like the last week or something. And first of all, real quick, I'll say that like the in training stuff, I don't know what the heck happened, but it was like the first training session that he could join in, like things kicked up a notch. Everyone was getting heated, but like in a good way, like going the extra mile, working extra hard, just like it was great, just like really getting heated on the fields. And I was like, okay, I don't know if it's because of Clicky, but people like just kicked it up a notch in training. And then off the field, he's been great. So I think for the most part, it's always been the homegrowns, at least while I've been here, that bring a lot of that young energy, that young personality, especially because they're hanging out for a while longer because they don't have kids and a wife at home. So like, I really miss KP, Griff, Moses, having those guys around. And I feel like we needed kind of that energy that they brought. Not saying that the rest of the team doesn't, but it's just a different type of personality. And Clicky has really filled in that gap, and Lewis as well. They're both very, they just bring so much energy, and they're bumping the music. But Clicky has been great. He's always down to do different things. So next Wednesday, it's like our Pups at the Pitch game. Yes. So Clicky joined our content team at Audi Field yesterday and brought his dog so that he could take pictures with the dog and have the dog help us promote the game. And he's just down for anything and everything. He's been asking us, so he like loves gaming and stuff. I haven't been able to tune in, but I guess he like streams himself doing some gaming. I don't know what he plays, but he's been wanting us to like help him get involved with some gaming stuff over here. So he's a great personality to have.
I wonder what he does play.
I don't know.
You have to find out now.
I know. I have absolutely no clue what it is.
It's probably some like shooting game or something.
I have no clue. I wish I knew.
FIFA, someone's saying.
I'm sure he is playing FIFA.
Yeah. Which it won't be FIFA anymore this year.
What do you mean?
EA Sports aren't making FIFA. They've got rid of the FIFA brand and just making it EAFC.
This is news to me.
Yeah, we're in it.
Yeah.
So they've gone for the license. Still got a lot of the licenses, but apparently FIFA wanted far too much money. So EA went, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it'll change. Not that I played much FIFA to begin with. I'm horrible at games. Unless it's Super Smash Brothers, I can't play.
To be honest, FIFA for me has gone downhill over the last few years. Well,
has it?
Yeah, because they focus on the Ultimate Team section of it. And I really despise that, because all it is you pay money for the game and then you have to pay money to get these good players. And I'm like, well, they're already in the game. I don't want to pay them again.
Yeah, it's all about money. It's all about money these days. And I think they're switching over from not giving it to FIFA. Like, you can just see that it's about the money. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I might play the demo and see what it's like. But yeah, it's all about Football Manager for me. Football Manager is such a great game. It's kind of what helped me get into DC.
How?
So, I mean, long story short, back in '96 when obviously DC first formed, they signed Jaime Moreno from my team who I follow in the UK. But I was only 8, so I didn't really understand what was happening. Then Freddie Adu came along, and he was on Football Manager. You could sign him, and obviously he played for DC. So I was like, I'll manage DC, and it just kind of went from there, really. And just every season I'll do a save with DC and see how far I can get, and it's rather cool. So
that's how you got into the whole DC Unite, because I've always wondered where a fan from England, how did all of this happen? I've always wondered.
Yeah, so we can thank a nice little football game.
I love it.
From 2012, and I still play it to this day. Probably spend far too much time on it. Fliss will probably agree with that. But yeah, I'll just do a save with DC. I'll do a save with Borough, and then I'll do a random save who I'm doing with Boston United, who are in like not even in the Football League. They're 2 leagues below it. So yeah, it's great. So that's how I got into it. Anyway, moving on from that. What have you been up to recently? Because you've been rather busy over the last few months. I noticed you've done things like the Kentucky Derby and stuff like that, and CBS. And talk to us about that.
Oh my goodness, it's been awesome. I feel like everything just like happened all at once, which isn't that how it is? Like good things will always just happen in multiple things, however it goes. But no, it's been awesome. So the first thing I got to do was some work with CBS Sports. I got to go up to their studio in Connecticut and host some game coverage for the Women's Champions League, which was awesome. I've done the hosting stuff for DC United, but it was always like pitch side. And then I was talking to someone about it because I was like so nervous. And they were like, listen, you've done the hosting. You just now have 4 walls and a desk in front of you. That's the only difference. I was like, you know what? You're right. And it was awesome because it was us covering women's soccer. And I got to always have 2 women analysts who have played soccer breaking everything down. So it was like women's empowerment. I loved it. It was so much fun. Some of the days would be long. There was one of them where I went up to Connecticut from DC and back in the same day. So that was a very long day. Yeah, sports is long. You'll have some long days, but it was so much fun to be able to do that. It was obviously very different with DC United. I am so involved with them that I know what's going on constantly. So now to kind of do something different that I don't normally cover, there was a lot of homework involved, a lot of research involved, but that was so much fun to be able to do that. And then I got to do some work in my second language with Telemundo, which is a part of NBC Sports to cover horse racing. So I was doing a new sport, which I've never covered before, in my second language, which is, it's hard enough to cover a new sport in your native language. So now to do it in a second language presented its own challenges. But it was fun. I feel like, sometimes if you're in the same place for so long and just doing the same stuff, sometimes you just get into a routine, and it's good to challenge yourself. So the past 2 months have been very challenging in very good ways, doing all this outside work. And now with DC United, I'm sitting in the studio. Yeah. So if you're watching video, you can see I'm kind of in a studio. It looks very ugly right now. It's not finished, so don't judge it just yet. But this is a new challenge.
You just need some jerseys on the wall, don't you?
I have some wooden hangers. I'm staring at them right now. We have to build a shelf that's going to go over here and a clothing rack with jerseys, and then it's going to look good.
Yeah. So what is that new studio all in aid of? Is this where you're going to be doing all your content now?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So finally going to freaking do a podcast. We've been talking about it for a while, and just, you've been doing a podcast for so long, you know everything that goes into it. So there's so many things coming up with the name, which people on Twitter helped us decide that, coming up with the graphics and speaking with our graphics team to help me build the look and everything. The video team has been so good with helping me. We just had our photographer, Hannah, build 4 chairs. She loved it. She was in her own world when I came in today, building it 4 IKEA chairs. Yeah. She's like, I want to build it. I'm like, okay, please. I would love it. I'm horrible with building stuff. But we're going to start our podcast. So this is where we're going to host everything. And then just like any other one-off interviews or any other content ideas that we want to do with the players, staff, whoever it is, we're going to do it right here. So now we finally have a look, because before we've always just kind of just like one-off interviews. We'll just find a place to do it at the training facility and call it a day. So now we have our own home for all of this, which is super exciting.
And is that at the training center, or is that at the stadium?
Yes, this is at the training facility. So behind these walls, like the gym is over there, the staff offices are like right next door. So we're in the mix of things here at the training facility.
Very nice.
Yes.
Just going back to the horse racing, are you a horse racing fan, or how did that actually come about?
No, so it's funny because I signed on as like a freelancer. So I'm now a freelancer for Telemundo. So, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do sports coverage with them, and it's going to be a lot of soccer related stuff in the future. But I got a call from my contact there, and he's like, okay, like for your first assignment, I have something random. You want to do the Kentucky Derby? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, what would I say no? Like, first of all, it's my first assignment. I don't want to say no. Second of all, I'm like, why the heck not? When am I ever maybe going to get the chance to cover it? Like, heck yeah, I would love to go. Now I feel like I know a lot about horse racing, and I didn't realize how many Latinos are in it. So the winner of Preakness, which just happened this past week, the second of the Triple Crown in Baltimore, The winner was Puerto Rican. My family's from Puerto Rico, so it all worked out great. So now I'm a horse racing expert. Maybe I wouldn't go that far, but now I'm into horse racing. But before I was like, I don't know what the heck this is. So there was a lot of research involved there for sure.
Yeah. And I've lived in 2 places where I've been within touching distance of a race course. I've never been.
No,
No.
because horse racing is pretty big over there too in England. No,
Oh,
yeah,
it's huge over here. So there's where I used to live in Cheltenham, where there's a big festival that happens every March around St. Patrick's Day, and I used to work in the town, and all that would happen is it felt like the entire nation of the Republic of Ireland flew over to Cheltenham for this one particular week.
Wow.
It was heaving. The attendance, so the town itself, I think, were populations around 17, 18,000. And then when the festival happens, it goes up to like 150,000. Yeah, there's so many people that come to this festival. It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely mad. And yeah, everything comes to a standard, but the atmosphere is brilliant.
Yeah.
So I've been on a night out there where you just don't get served because it's just heaving, but
Wow.
everyone's having fun. Everyone's in a good mood. It's just brilliant. So it's great for the town. And then where I grew up was a small race course, but I was literally lived across the road from the race course, and just never went. Just never, not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever would have gone if I hadn't been assigned to it, and I don't know if I'll go again unless I'm covering it. It's just different, but it was fun to do something different, and the people who are there are really getting involved. The people who are there are there to make some money. They're there to bet. So it's a very different environment than what I've been used to with soccer and covering other sports. So yeah, very interesting sport.
I noticed you made a couple of comments on Twitter about F1.
Yes.
So McLaren,
Yes.
love the fact that they're doing well again. I used to be back in the day, I used to be a huge McLaren fan. Granted, I've slipped with watching it and stuff, but seeing Alonso, and I'm thinking, how the hell is he back up there?
I want to know what Aston Martin did to their cars. It's very nice to see Alonso back out there. I will say though, so Carlos Sainz and Checo are my favorite. I have to support my Spanish speakers, but then it's like, okay, well, Fernando Alonso is also from Spanish speaker, but I don't know. There was like one race last year where he pushed Lewis off the track, and like that angered me because I do like Lewis Hamilton as well. And Fernando Alonso, I don't know. He just like got under my skin, and I wasn't his biggest fan, but he's freaking like top 3 every single week now in the race. So I'm seeing more of his personality. And so I'm starting to like him. I will say I'm starting to like him a lot, but I don't know what the heck they did to their cars, because I was not expecting them to be up there all the time.
No, not at all. It's great. It's so different because it's what normally Mercedes and Red Bull or Ferrari at the top end. Yep. Now you've got this lot coming in, and it's just like, it feels like the old days.
Ferrari, poor Charles Leclerc is just. I feel bad. I feel bad for them, but
then is it more down to the car than the driver?
Yes,
that's the bit that gets me. It's not all about the driving skill; it's about how good the car is, and I love and hate that fact. But who's your team? Who's the team that you're supporting, or who are the drivers that you're supporting week in and week out? I mean, at least I've not watched a huge amount of it, but I'll always keep an eye out for McLaren. Okay, that's always got a soft spot for them, and I think that's more down to the fact I used to follow Jenson Button, and even gone further back, Ayrton Senna. Used to love. I was so gutted. I was a very, very young lad when he crashed and passed away, but I remember being really upset about when that happened. And then otherwise, I do kind of like Red Bull a little bit. Then they're just leading the way, and it's kind of a bit boring. I want
Yeah.
to go for the underdog. It's an English thing.
I know, me too. I'm like, Max Verstappen, I don't like you. You're winning everything. But it is like, I mean, whenever he retires or whatever, and it's just like he's doing incredible things. Granted, like you said, the car helps a lot, but there's times where he starts like 15th or whatever, and he makes his way up to the top. So like, you've got to be a pretty good driver too to be able to do that. But yeah, I don't want to root for them just because they're so good. And I want to root for the underdog. And it's Red Bull. I know it's different, but as a DC United fan, I'm like, I don't ever want to support Red Bulls right now. Like,
yeah, I mean, this little comment. New York Red Bulls.
New York Red Bulls.
Yeah.
New York Red Bulls.
Or what we probably should call them is the New Jersey Pink Cows. New Jersey Pink Cows. They're not in New York.
They aren't in New York.
I'm just going to say this. Say this all the time. They're not New York. But, you know. Anyhow. MLS deal. MLS by Apple deal. How's that changed things for you then?
It's been so it's not as much it's very different to like what we thought it was going to be. So like when we first entered this year, they sent us like this rundown of what everything was going to look like and their weekly requests that they were going to have for us and the monthly requests and all this stuff. So it's not as bad, shall I say, as we initially thought it was going to be. Like we thought it was going to be a lot more. But it is, I think the content that they do require out of all clubs, I think it's good content. I think it's content that maybe all clubs should have been making anyways. So now it just kind of makes us prioritize it. So like week to week, we have the first team reports, which are fun to put together. And that was something that I wanted to do anyways, because just to inform everybody what's going on, because it's hard to keep up with your favorite teams day in and day out. And then month to month, we're doing academy reports, community reports, like what are we doing in our community? And I think that's it month to month. So it's good content surrounding every club. So it's been going well so far. I think we're now at a point where like we have a really good routine with everything.
Yeah, I think it's, for me, I do love the first team reports. I think they're absolutely brilliant, especially because they're quite short snippets. They're easy to digest and you can just play it, then move on. And that's the kind of thing that you need. And then a lot of the other stuff, we already did a lot of that kind of content, and we were kind of the kings of social media content throughout the league. There was so much good stuff over the last few years. And it feels like we've actually probably scaled back a little bit, if anything.
It does feel like it a little bit. You're saying DC United?
Sorry?
You're saying DC United? What scaled back a little bit? Yeah. I think with us getting all of this started, we'll get to have a lot more content with the podcast and everything, because my hope for it is you get some storytelling. And then since it will be longer, you'll get to have shorter clips here and there. We're thinking of segments to make it more fun and all that stuff. So the priority for us coming into the season was to be able to get a feeling for all the Apple stuff, what we have to do. And then we're kind of like all figuring that out now, and everything's really coming together. So then we can start doing other things that we really want to do here and there. Yeah,
that's cool. I'm really looking forward to this podcast. Obviously, being a I'm really looking forward to it.
I think if we can do this right, which I know we can, we're getting all this podcasting equipment, so it should sound good. It's going to look good because we're getting the studio, so it's going to be great. We're starting it later than I had hoped, but I'd rather it start later and then we can get everything right. So I think it'll add a lot of content, social content, podcast, so people can listen to it in the car. So hopefully it'll hit a bunch of different fans that can listen or watch whenever and wherever.
Definitely. Just a few more little comments coming through on the chat there. About the New Jersey Pink Cows, I need it on the flag at the next matchup. I think I'm going to have to try and do something for that when I come out in September, because that'll be the next game, especially at home. Hello to Brett, who's another friend of mine who's joining in there. So, hey to Brett. And then Gooder Boys has just asked, does Dave Johnson do away game commentary? Which I believe he does, doesn't he? It's just not synced up on the Apple TV. aspect?
Yeah, so Dave is doing all the DC United games, but on Apple TV, you can only sync to the local home radio broadcast. So, like, if we're playing away in Toronto, like this weekend, you can only sync to their local radio broadcast. So if you want to listen to Dave, you'd have to pull up, I think, like the iHeart app, because it's on iHeart. So you'd have to pull it up separately, and you can't sync it through the Apple TV app. But I'm hoping that they change that soon.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things. I think it was just the logisticals that prevented them from doing it for this year. So hopefully next season we'll be there.
Yeah.
It's just a shame I can't listen to him. It's just not available abroad.
Radio, home or away? Or
home or away, yeah. Because I know some people who've traveled from the USA, been to, I know someone I know has been over to Switzerland. He's been able to listen to it, but because I've got a UK Apple account, I can't listen to Dave.
Oh no!
I have to listen to it after the fact on the social media clips he posts.
Oh,
Just such a shame.
iHeartRadio
doesn't exist over here either, so yeah, no.
You need to get one of those things that like hides.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think
I got one of those a couple of years ago, so I could watch Love Island on ITV as it was happening. This was like 2020.
I think I'm just gonna have to hide you from the stream now. Love Island. Oh, jeez.
So sorry. Listen, who did I speak to? I think I was talking to Lewis, and I think he said that he watched a little bit of Love Island. So
probably on in the background. No.
We had the conversation a while ago, but I'm pretty sure I don't think we talked too in depth, but I'm pretty sure he said that he watched it. So listen, there's some people in the building that like it.
Oh dear.
I know. It's trash TV.
Yeah, it's one of those things my other half she watches, and she's at the moment into watching Married at First Sight.
I haven't seen any other ones. Love Island is like that's my thing, but I haven't seen any of the other ones. But I've heard there's other good ones, so who knows? Maybe I'll get to it.
I just remember during 2020 when the first lockdown hit, I think there was a series on Netflix called Love Is Blind.
Don't know. Yeah, there was. I hadn't watched it, but everyone said it was good.
I mean, I think I had lockdown fever because I absolutely adored it. I thought it was brilliant.
So then you have.
But then we started watching the second season. I was like, this is awful. I was like, why did I? And I was like, yeah, it's just lockdown fever.
That's probably what it was. That's definitely what it was.
Yeah. Cool. Right. That was a long news and thingy bob section, should we call it? Any DCU players that wouldn't get any DCU players that wouldn't be out of place on Love Island. I think Taxi would be great on Love Island. I mean, obviously he's in a relationship and he's got things, but
they weren't in relationships. I think Taxi, I think Clicky, I think Lewis. I'm going down the DC United roster.
I think Bono.
Now. Oh, you know what? I was going to say that.
He's got the mustache.
Yeah, I could definitely see him doing that. I think that those would be my top guys to go on there. Yeah, I think they'd kill it.
Yeah. There we go. There's the DCU players that would be on Love Island if they weren't in relationships. What a question. And on that bombshell. Right. Trivia question. This is every episode I do a little question about the game that we got this weekend. At the start of the season when we played Toronto, the question was about the time that I was out in DC last year, who scored the opening goal, which was Edison Flores. That was the first goal I'd seen DCU score in person on the third attempt. So
yeah, lucky there.
I got 2 goals and we didn't get beat.
Yeah.
So now this year is when we win. This is the year that we're going to get 2 wins when I see them. So for this one, though, who scored the second goal for DC in the opening match of the season against Toronto? We all know who scored the winner because that was an epic moment.
Ted scored the third.
Scored the winner, yeah. But who scored the second goal?
I had to ask one of our videographers, TC. I was filming my first team report, and I was like, "Wait, what was the score for DC versus Toronto?" I could have, if you asked me right now to recall it, I would have said 2-1. One thing you'll learn about me, I have really bad memory. So I totally would have said 2-1. So 3-2.
I'll just wait and see if anyone in the chat is going to take any guesses at this
Yeah.
one. You normally get that.
Phone a friend. Can anyone in the chat?
Yeah. But the answer will be revealed at the end of the episode.
Okay.
So we've had our first guess in there. In Bentekers. I love how everyone's now calling him Bentekers.
But I haven't heard. I didn't know people were calling him that.
No?
Is that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Lots of us call it Bentekers because he scores a Tekers goal, a technical goal. Yeah.
I wonder if he knows. I'm going to ask him if he knows that people are calling him this.
Yeah, Bentekers. I mean, that bicycle kick he scored.
Oh my God, it was beautiful, wasn't it?
That was Bentekers all over.
It was great. DC, I don't know if it was the players that took initiative or it was the coaches that told the players or whoever it was, but there's 2 walls near the locker room here in the training facility. One is for clean sheets and one is for wins. And so whenever we get a win or a clean sheet, they print off the picture, frame it, and put it on these walls. And so for that game where Christian had the bicycle kick, I don't know if it was one of our photographers or someone got the picture of him doing the bicycle kick goal. So the guys printed it out and it's on that wall right now. So that was a phenomenal goal.
It was. I went a little bit mental in here when I was watching it. So 143 aerial duels won, top in MLS. He is just, this season, he has been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And I love, you want him to do well. I love that he's doing well. But I think this also shows, because here's my thing that I always think about. I think people are very quick to judge when a player or a coach first comes into any league, but I'm specifically going to talk about MLS because we're talking about MLS here, and that's what I know. But like when Christian came, when he first was here last year, he wasn't performing very well. And I remember I even spoke to Wayne pre-game, and he's like, you know, I've had conversations with Christian myself. He just like needs to get acclimated to the area, to being away from home, to being away from like home country, Europe, new league. And here it is. Like you need a little bit of time to get used to where you're playing, who you're playing with, the style. And people are so quick to judge and be like, oh, this player isn't good. You need to give them a little bit of time. I mean, maybe this is just me, but like you need to give players and coaches time to get used to what's going on, to build the team that they want, and to put the right people around them, and for the players to have the right teammates around them. So I love that everything is coming together for DC and for Christian.
Yeah, it's great. And you're right. It does take a little bit of time. And especially, you obviously got people who go to different European countries and sign for different European leagues. And sometimes it's a little bit quicker because things like the climate is all the same or very similar, if anything. But yeah, for Benteke to move from England to USA and then have all that traveling involved as well, which he won't be used to. Yes, it was going to take time. So I'm very pleased for him. He's just... honestly, it's been such a delight to watch him this season. So good. So yeah, let's talk about that game at the weekend against Galaxy. That first half, how wet was it?
Well, I wasn't there.
You weren't there? No, you weren't.
I know. I missed it because of previous, and I'm so upset. So it was the first home game that I've missed all season, and I'm like, really? I missed out on this one. So I'm over here like you and whoever else wasn't there. Like I was watching from my phone. I know.
Honestly, I mean, I was watching it on this in my office on my monitor, and I was just like, that looks so wet. And I
was in Baltimore that day because I'd been covering horse racing, so I wasn't too far down. And when it started raining where I was, like it was just heavy rain, and it's just hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. So that's how it was. Like I heard that it was just like coming down, but it didn't last forever. But of course, like when it rains here in the area, it always happens around kickoff time. And it's so funny because every single home game that we have the day before and the day after game day are beautiful. They're sunny, 80 degrees. And then you get to game day and it's like cold, rainy, cloudy. And you're just like, when the heck are we getting, like, we're already at the end of May and we still haven't gotten a good home game weather day.
No. And it always, the games are always kicking off at 7:30 or 7:39. So you get, it'd be nice just to have a nice sunshine mid-afternoon game where I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. That would be nice.
For you.
It's a bit brutal, but I enjoy watching it. It's so much fun. But yeah, so first half was a bit of a washout.
Yeah.
I felt that it was a little bit bland the first half. It felt very flat because there was no way you could really get into the game at all with the way the weather was. But that second half, 3 goals in 9 minutes. That was just. Well, technically, we had 4 goals. Just one of them was disallowed.
Yep. It's funny because I would like have the phone playing and then I'd look away for a second and I'm like, how the heck did we score? What? Two goals in like just a couple of minutes, and then you get clicky with a boom, 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 Wayne celebration. I was like, what the heck is this? I love it. Why did I miss this game? So
Derek Williams coming in with an elbow. Both.
I loved it. Derek is another guy that fits in very well. Him and Clicky are very good together.
Would you say they've clicked?
They have clicked. It's funny. I was asking Clicky a couple weeks ago. I was doing an interview with him after training, and I talking to Clicky, and I'm like, blah 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 blah. Is it clicking together? And I didn't realize Wayne had come up right behind me. He goes, "Oh, good pun." I was like, "Where the heck did you come from? And how did you hear that?" So Wayne appreciates those jokes. So if you come at him with a Clicky joke about Clicky, he'll enjoy it.
Honestly, I love a good pun. As anyone who knows me, the pun it is pun central over here. Absolutely pun central. So obviously, you just rightly said, we had that great celebration. Things that stood out for me was Pines being brilliant yet again. He's come on leaps and bounds this season. The first half covered solid tackling, didn't really put a foot wrong. Felt like Samake has come on quite a bit. He played really well in that last game. Feels like he's adjusting to the league very nicely after coming up from Loudon. And then that offside goal, which I think wasn't offside.
Yeah.
Well, I still don't think it was offside. It's open to interpretation.
Coaches have not been very happy with refs this year. There's been lots of calls. There's been lots of goals called off. It happened to New England recently as well. That could have helped them at least tie a game. So the decisions have coaches say not in the team's interests. So
yes, but I don't think it's just an MLS thing. I think it's actually been, if you watch many of the games over here in England, there's been quite a few dodgy decisions as well over here as well. So it just feels a bit like, what's happened to refereeing as a whole?
Yeah.
But they don't have an easy job. I will give, you've got to look from their side as well. They don't have an easy job. There's so many things they've got to consider, especially when it comes to set pieces. They've got to look at the corner. They've got to look at the people in the box. They've got to check for so many things. So I don't envy them on that aspect. And I think VAR could be used in such a much better way.
Every time I'm on the sidelines, I never want to be a ref. But I was like, if I ever have to be a ref, you don't want to be the fourth official, because that's the one that's taking the beating from from the coaches, from the assistant coaches, and I'm just sitting there watching them during our home games. I'm like, your job must suck. It's just got to
zone it out, and then just put some numbers up.
I couldn't do it.
No, not at all. But fair play to them. Some stats from the game, so I'd like to go through those as well. So we had less than 50% possession, which is the first time it's been like that for a few weeks now. We had 46.7%, which I'm not going to argue with. We were effective with it.
Yeah.
13 to 11 shots attempted at goal. We had 5 shots on target. They had 6. Fouls wise, 16 to 13, which is fewer than standard.
Yeah.
So, and considering the weather, I think that was actually pretty good. Average position wise, so this is something I like to look at, and it shows how much we were attacking. And when you look at that, we were like, there's 5-6 players on average in the LA half compared to LA's 2 or 3 players. So they were on the back foot a lot of the game, even though they had more of the ball. And yeah, I was just so pleased that second half. Such a good second half.
I will throw in there real
Go for it.
quick. I think Philly last week, our game against Philly at Philly, which is so freaking hard.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about the Galaxy game,
Yeah.
but Galaxy, and I'm not. When you compare Galaxy versus Philly this year, and you think of how we freaking showed up at Philly, take on like Philly is always good every single year, and they started off the season not too hot, but hello, they were playing in the CONCACAF like Champions League. They were focusing on like a very important tournament. Like we dominated Philly last Wednesday, and I think that to me that felt like an even better performance than the Galaxy, and they just like to be better than Philly. And I think that DC should have won that game. I thought that was incredible. So I think I needed to give a shout to that game as well, because I think DC performed so well. And it was so sad because MLS put up like a recap of all the games that happened on Wednesday. And they're like, what did we learn from DC versus Philly? And the writer was like, nothing. And I'm like, what do you mean nothing? We learned that Ted DiPietro should be starting. The man, he was freaking incredible. Like DC absolutely dominated Philly. And I'm like, what do you mean we learned nothing from the game? I thought we learned some things from the game. So I was upset with that recap. But
don't get me started on it. Do not get me started, because I just
I was like, if you don't have the chance to watch all the games, which fair enough, who does?
Yeah.
But have someone who watched the game write it. I'm saying that, and hopefully they don't hear it and they're like, all right, Claudia, you write the recap. And they'll be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to analyze that stuff. So let me not do that. But I think there was a lot of positives from a 2-game week last week, especially that Philly game. Just it had me on edge. So yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the games I didn't watch, being a midweek game, and having work the next day. I don't think would have been a wise idea to stay.
You can't do that. That's difficult. It was a good game. It was a good game. So I'll say that.
Yeah, I watched the highlights and things, and it looked like we were very, very good.
Yes.
So yeah, very happy about that. And to me, the fact that we were able to get a credible result in Philly compared to where we were last season against them, huge improvement.
100%. 100%. I mean, one of the things that article did say was like the DC United team last year wouldn't have gotten this result, which is very true. So no, DC, all they needed was to get one goal, which they totally could have, and they totally could have had that chance. So I'm excited to see DC United play more matchups against like Philly again, and then whenever we play New England, who I think is still top of the East, and maybe play Cincy again and stuff, like they're getting it together.
Yeah, and I mean Cincy though, that feels weird saying that they're doing well.
I can't believe it. I can't freaking believe it. I'm like,
they're doing brilliant.
What?
I mean, they've got some great players though.
They do.
I feel like last season they did okay, but they should have done a lot better. But this season, it's just
I'm like, what the
unreal.
Heck is your team? They've got Lucho. They've got also everyone always forgets to mention Junior Moreno, which we loved having him here. And they've turned it around since he is doing incredible.
I just think when they lose Brenner in the summer, that's going to be a huge loss for them. Yeah. So it's whether they can keep it going post Brenner. So I'm just looking at the table now. So Cincy are currently top of the East on 30 points. Then it's Nashville.
What?
In second place. But they've played a game more than New England.
Okay. Yeah.
So who are only a point behind. Then Atlanta, then Philly, then ourselves. Joint with Orlando, then Columbus and Charlotte, who round out the playoff spots. So that kind of ties me nicely into talking about our opponents this weekend.
Yep.
In Toronto, who are currently sat bottom of the East. Yep. They've not scored for 4 league games in a row, which they've only gone one time longer, and that was 9 matches.
Wow.
Without scoring. That was back in 2007. So a little while ago. So this is probably a good time, if anything, to play them.
Yeah.
But in the press conference, Chris Durkin, who was the player involved, did mention this could be quite a tricky one because it's very difficult to predict an opponent who are playing out of form. So, so that's going to be an interesting game. We're in the top 10 of the power rankings, though. If anyone really takes much notice of what happens in the power rankings, but because I still don't understand how they work it out, if I'm honest. We're the most informed team in the league at the moment. In the last 7 games, we've got 14 points in the last 7 games, and in that run, only Nashville and Nashville and Philly have also got the same amount of points, and no one's got higher than us. So why are we 10th?
I have no idea how this power rankings work. I just know that TC yesterday or on Tuesday was like, MLS put us in the power rankings, and we're like, whoa! And then they tweeted about it, and I was like, let me make sure to retweet this, like,
yeah.
But first of all, let me say, like, people, it's very interesting how the teams that were doing super, super well to start off the season are now falling, and the teams that were doing iffy, like Montreal, who we play next week with Hernán Lozada, now, like us, they're going up, they're winning games and all this stuff. But I have no idea how the power rankings are. I don't know how any of that's calculated. I just know we're in it, and I'm excited about it.
I sometimes feel like they just go, hat, pick, name.
Yep. Here you go. Number 10, DC United. You're in it. Congrats.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's so we're in the top 10, which is great. We'll take any win we can on that one. What have we got on there? So notes from this game. So obviously we played them in the first game of the season where we had those 2 fantastic goals where Ted scored the winner. And this game, I was watching this at my in-laws, and I had to be very, very restrained when we scored the winner because my little lad was in the room above, and I was just like,
I don't know if you've ever seen a video. There's a video of like a group of guys, of like older gentlemen that are like, have you seen it? And they have to, like, they're watching their team play a game, but like they have to be silent. So then, like, oh my God, for the people that are watching this.
If you're not watching, get onto YouTube and tune into around 57th minutes.
They're like watching it, and then the team scores. So then you see all these men get up and they're like celebrating silently, and then like 3 guys completely trip over one another. So I imagine that's exactly how you were. That video clip gets me every single time, but that's exactly how I imagine you were.
Yes, pretty much. Nobody has to trip over, but I was sat there and I'm like, oh, that was me silently celebrating, if you're listening.
Silence.
Yes, silence. But yeah, that was fantastic. So we had that. We had 98th minute. Recent form between the two sides in terms of the matchups. We've won 3 of the last 5 matches with 1 draw and 1 defeat. The draw was the one I was at. Toronto, as I just mentioned, I know this is actually another stat. They're currently on a run of 4 defeats in their last 6 games. And since the start of 2021, they've lost 41 games, which is the same amount as what we have. So that means after this weekend, they'll have lost the most matches since 2021.
Oh, I love the confidence.
I mean, come on.
Love the confidence.
It's because our form, 1 defeat in the last 7. Toronto failed to score 4 consecutive matches, as I mentioned. Only one's gone longer. And we've won, as a team, 62.7% of our aerial duels this season, which is 7% better than the next nearest team, which is pretty good. I mean, so we're awesome in the air.
Yeah.
But no team has gone 60% plus over an entire season.
I think we can do it.
Yeah. Keep Benteke fit. We've got Birnbaum coming back. It was obviously amazing in the air. So I haven't. Now, this is going to be the tricky thing, is Birnbaum being back. What do we do with the defense? Because the defense has played incredibly well in his absence.
I know. What do you do? Because like all the guys that are out right now are like the guys that were starters, but DC had to figure it out without their starters, and now they're doing well. So as a coach, what decisions will Wayne and his coaching staff make,
Yeah.
I have no clue.
It's a very, very great little selection headache he's got ahead of him.
It's a good
the kind of
problem.
headache you want.
Yes, a good problem to have. You want
Yeah.
to figure out like, oh, well, this guy's good, but this guy's good. Like, good problem to have.
Yeah. Getting a little bit of love for Donny Pines there from Gooner Boy. I mean, except I've been so impressed with how he's been playing since Birnbaum's been out injured. He's just come in and been fantastic. Obviously, Heinz Ike is back as well, which I'm so happy to see him back in the black and red. Paulson, who I feel has been revelation since he's moved to centre back as well. It's just kind of like, what do you disrupt that back three? Then you've got Taxi returning, which is great. I think that's one thing we have missed is that pace up top.
Yep.
Andy's back. So someone on the wing, an actual winger. As much as Durkin has done well on the right, he's not a proper winger. So there's that. And then Pedro Santos is back as well. So does Samake get dropped or what happens with him? Because like I said, I felt he had a really good game in the last one. So
yeah, like we said, a good problem to have. It's like people in the comments are even saying it's a good problem to have. I think as we start, or as our games start picking up more and more, and we start having more Wednesday and Saturday games, I think it's good to have everybody back and healthy. And Wayne has said before that he likes having that healthy competition and training, because you don't want to have players that like they're like, yep, my spot's guaranteed, so I'm not even going to try it training. Like Wayne's like, no, like I don't care if you're a DP, I will drop you for the youngest guy on the team if he's working harder than you at training. So good problem to have, but I have absolutely no idea what Wayne and the coaching staff will do, and it'll be very interesting to see how they navigate all of this.
Yeah. The only other thing in terms of availability, Ruan's still a week away, so I'll be happy to see him back as well, because when he's attacking, he's flipping quick.
Yep.
He is so threatening. So, in terms of Toronto's key players, so they've got Bernadeschi, who had a little bit of a rant after their last game, and Bob Bradley has come out and said he shouldn't have done that. Lorenzo Insigne, he's been a bit injury prone since coming to MLS, which because he came off injured in the game against us early doors, and then he's not really played too much since then, from what I know. Then you got Jonathan Osorio and Ayo Akinola, who scored against us last season. So we've got those. But I need a score prediction. What do you reckon is going to happen this weekend?
My go-to is always 2-1, but I'm going to say 2-0. I think we keep the clean sheet. I think we keep Toronto scoreless to 5 now straight games. So I'm going to go with that positivity that you had before. So I'm going to say 2-0 DC United, obviously. Nice.
Now, last week, I think for my prediction for the Galaxy game, I went 3 or 4-0.
You picked it.
Yep.
So what's your prediction for this week then? You
3 or 4-0.
What'd you say?
3 or 4-0. Yeah.
Really?
I think we're going to get another strong win this weekend. There's no reason in my thought process that says we have no chance of getting a strong win this weekend. We've got the form. Toronto are playing out of form. We got a great confidence boosting big win last weekend. Toronto aren't scoring, which is the same as what Galaxy were doing. They hadn't scored for 5 road games in a row, and now it's 6.
Yeah.
So I think we can take that and use that in this game this weekend.
I'll take it. 3 or 4-0. I love it.
So yeah, that's my prediction for this weekend, which means we need to move on to fan questions, which before we reveal the trivia time question answer. So first question was, how do we keep, and this is from David, who's a DCUK member, how do we keep Taxi, Benteke and Teddy on the field at the same time?
Oh man, good question.
It's a very good question.
Let me go call up Wayne real quick and see what he says.
Yeah, can you just go to the next room and go and grab him and find out what's going to happen?
Yeah. One sec, we need you. Come on, Kelly, we need you for the whole podcast. People got questions for you. I wish
Yes.
you were still here. I'd be like, come on.
Yep. Come on, get yourself on here.
Yeah, that's a good question. I love Ted starting.
Yeah.
I want him to stay.
I think we could go 3-4-3
Yeah.
and still keep everyone involved in the way that Click is probably maybe or O'Brien maybe start on the left. Just mean that Samake does get dropped though, and that's
Yeah.
the bit that I'm a bit about.
Hmm.
Click on the left, O'Brien, Knaus, Andy or Durkin on the right. Then you've got Ted, Taxi, and Benteke up top.
Who would you put in the defense?
I would keep the same Pines, Williams, and Paulson. The PWP.
Yeah, PWP.
I can't. As much as I like Birnbaum and as much as I like Heinz Eich, the way those three have played in the last few games together have been brilliant, and there's no reason.
And it's so hard, like with all these players that like leave with injury or international break during times like we've had to change our formation, especially that defense. I feel like it's always been hard to keep defense healthy, like in previous years, even before, like even when we had Adnan and Ben Olsen and all that stuff. So when you finally find a group that's clicking together, it's really hard to say, okay, now let's change it. You need to find some sort of consistency, and that's difficult.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
It's that whole thing. So for me, it's going to be difficult to have all three of them on. But if there's going to be a way, for me, it would be a 3-4-3.
Yep.
Eric, also another DCUK member, has got two questions. He's got a pessimistic question and then an optimistic question. So the pessimistic question is, will we ever not have half the team on the injured list? Probably in a week.
Yeah, there will be moments of the season where we'll have, but it's not even just DC. Like I remember like a year or two ago, I'm like, what the heck is going on with DC? Like, why is everybody always injured? But then you read about all the other MLS teams, and it's just other teams and other leagues. It's a lot of demand on the body. Yeah. And then you start adding in several regular season midweek games. You start adding in different tournaments like Open Cup. We're gonna have Leagues Cup. You've got some teams are doing CONCACAF Champions League, and there's all these other tournaments here and there, and it's like it's just difficult. It takes a lot on the body. So I don't know. But we are, yes, we're getting our team back. Yes. We're getting our team back.
And just on that about the toll on the body, then the other factor is pitch types as well.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And this is where we're going to have a British and an Americanism.
Why do you say that?
Well, so for you, as far as I'm aware, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, turf for you guys is the fake grass.
Yes, but I know turf actually means real grass.
Yeah, it's real grass.
Yeah, because it's supposed to say artificial turf, but then we just say turf for fake grass. But turf is literal real grass.
Real grass, yeah.
So we do say turf. It's funny because I was about to say for turf, blah, 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 blah. Yes, so we're going to say, listen, for fake grass, we'll say grass. That. Don't confuse anybody. Fake grass, it's very interesting because I think like one time Andy was coming back from injury, but this was like a while ago, like a year or two ago. And they held him off like a game from coming back from injury because it was going to be I'm pretty sure it was going to be in New England, and they have fake grass.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And I think that's how he had originally injured himself, was on fake grass. So yeah, no, like 100%. The players are always thinking like they hate the fake grass. Of course, sometimes it's the cheapest option, or we're playing in football stadiums which have fake grass.
Yep.
So that definitely plays a lot into it as well. Oh my gosh, you can get much more injured on the fake grass than just like normal grass.
And some of the fake grass pitches that I've played on, or if you dive or you fall,
it's bad. It's bad. And then you got like clumps of those little black things, and it's not good.
It's not pleasant.
Yeah.
His optimistic question though is, what's our ceiling? MLS Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can continue the way we're going, why not?
I know. I think they can make a deep run in the playoffs. I think if we keep playing this way, but again, you got to keep everybody healthy. Do you pay the money for Lewis O'Brien?
God,
It's
Please.
it's such a long season. When you think of now, what could happen between now to playoffs, like there's so
Yeah.
much that's going to change, and you never know. Summer transfer window. Who are they? Are they going to let go of anybody? Are we going to bring anybody in new? Like you never know. You
We're
never
not
know.
even halfway through the season yet.
No, we're not.
So there's plenty of time for things to change. But
Yep.
honestly, I think playoffs should be a given now.
Yep.
The way we're going, that should always be, for me, getting past that first game, because we've not done that for quite some time now. So getting past that one, just getting rid of that demon,
Yep.
then we're flying. So, and it'd be nice to have a 5th star above the badge.
How beautiful would that be?
Yeah, 5 stars. Oh, I can see it now. Weirdly, so I posted the question on Instagram, asking for questions, and a new UK support group messaged me for FC Cincinnati.
I love it.
And they're asking, will anyone stop Cincy?
Well, someone did. Someone scored 5 on them. Who scored 5 on them? I don't remember who, but someone scored 5 on them. So it's crazy because in this league, anybody can win. So Sporting Kansas City hadn't won a game in like, oh my gosh, guys, like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 games. And then their first win was against the Seattle Sounders, who at that moment had been at the top of the Western Conference. How do you lose to the last team that hadn't even won a game? And then LAFC, their first loss came a couple weeks ago to like one of the random Western Conference teams that's like a Colorado, Real Salt Lake, or one of those teams I never remember like exactly how they're doing.
One of the less memorable teams.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And they beat LAFC. So like random things happen. And then Cincy, they were like on such a hot streak, and then they lost to someone 5-0. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember who.
So Cincy lost 5-1. I'm on the schedules. To St. Louis City.
Okay, yes, St. Louis City.
Yep.
Who was doing super hot, and then they were humbled real quick by someone else. So everyone can be humbled by the team that you probably would least expect. Yep. So Cincy can definitely be stopped. I don't know by who, besides St. Louis.
And us, don't forget us. We can stop them when they return to Audi Field.
Very true.
On 24th of June.
Yes.
Next month. This time next month.
It's gonna be like this.
Yeah. We'll give them a 5-goal thrashing.
Yep.
I wish. That would be amazing. Fingers crossed.
That energy out there into the world.
Yes. But yeah, so there will be a team that will stop Cincy again. They've only that St. Louis defeat is their only defeat of the season. So they're doing very, very well.
Yeah.
And then Harish sent a message saying, I feel the match day atmosphere would be even better at Audi Field and comparable to most stadiums in Europe if the rest of the crowd joined in with a Chico stand during the chants. Is the club taking any steps to do that?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, over there in England, everybody's chanting, right? But there's no like drums or anything. I feel like there's that different layer.
We have drums.
You guys do have drums? Okay,
I'm not drums. Not many stadiums. The only one that sticks out in my head is Portsmouth.
Okay.
Who are a League One team.
Yep.
But they've been known for their atmosphere, even when they were playing in the Premier League and stuff. So, but there is stadiums that do have musical instruments, shall we say, not just drums, but trumpets.
Okay. So I didn't know that. My apologies.
There you go. That's okay.
Someone said you don't see tifos. Do you guys have tifos over there?
Generally not. No, we have flags. That's about as far as it goes, really, and banners.
Yeah.
That have got like I know for the borough we have one which says Spirit of Stour, which is we played. This is back when I used to go to every game. We played Steaua Bucharest. We were 3-0 down at halftime on aggregate in the second leg, and then we won 4-3.
Wow. Anything can happen in soccer.
That's it. You need, if you get the opportunity, go onto YouTube, put Borough Stour. I think it's that one. But basically, we did it in 2 rounds in a row in the UEFA Cup. So we played Basel, and we were 3 goals down on aggregate, and then we brought it back to win. And then we did it against Steaua Bucharest. And the commentary, our local commentator at the time, absolutely legend. Brilliant legend, brilliant commentator. I would put him, in terms of local commentary, on the pedestal with Dave Johnson.
Wow.
That's how well known he was within the local community. Not on a league level, but he was just such a personality. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But yeah, it was just superb. So do go and watch that. But in terms of for us, I did hear that there was other stands chanting in the Galaxy game.
There was another stand you said?
Yeah, the opposite stand. Forgive me, I don't know which one's north, south, east, or west.
Yeah. Oh, me neither. Me neither. Trust me, I don't remember.
No, it's the opposite one to the Chico stand that were chanting as well.
Yeah.
So it needs to get back to the Columbus game.
Yeah.
If you know the one I'm talking about, the playoff one where we got beat on penalties, but that was electric.
There's a lot that can be. I mean, there's improvements that can be done for everything. So to the person that asked this question, Harish.
Yep.
Harish. I mean, if you've got ideas, please let us know. Because it is nice to have the Chico stand, but it would definitely be nice to have. I mean, you'll hear people around the stadium like do the chants and jump in, but it'd be nice to like be able to get everybody. So I don't know if it's like putting out a video about like here, learn the chants before you go to Audi Field, because a lot of times it might be someone who might not be like the biggest DC fan, and they might be coming just like for their first game or maybe just a couple games in, so they don't know the chants just yet. So maybe it's like the club helping promote all the chants and everything, or maybe it's the supporters groups themselves putting that out. So there's definitely a lot that could be done to help make that happen.
I think the one simple thing for me would be even having like a simple QR code by the seats.
I love that.
I think they tried that in the Chico stand for people who were going to that stand to start off with. But even having that around the stadium, would be even on the scoreboards.
It's smart. It's smart because like people probably want to join in but might not know the chants, and then like where you find it online. So I think a QR code is actually very, very smart. It'll just be there, easily accessible. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So we had one question coming in on the chat, which I wanted to save, which was about O'Brien. Any brain? What am I talking about? It's 20:11 in the evening. Anyway, O'Brien staying past the summer. He's been a revelation with Click and Knaus as the Destroyer.
Destroyer, I love that. I'm going to tell him that you're calling him the Destroyer.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money is being asked. I don't know how much the club is going to be willing to pay. But I think Lewis O'Brien has done everything that he possibly can to like show that he's worth being paid for, and if he wants to stay here. So I think he's doing everything that he can to show that he's worth money. Yeah, good money.
I mean, you can tell he is a proper Premier League level player. And we're very, very lucky to have him right now. So if we don't get the extension or anything, we need to save every single moment that we've got him for. But as I know, Gooner Boy, who asked the question, joined in late in the show, but do rewind back towards the start. I did ask Wayne that question about O'Brien, and it's pretty much in Forest's hands as to whether they'll let him stay longer or not. So, we're keeping our fingers crossed. Let's put it that way. So the want is there from our side. It's just whether Forest are willing. Now they've got Premier League football for next season. Whether that helps the decision in terms of letting them stay for a little bit longer. Depends on what their summer transfer dealings are as well, I would imagine.
Yep.
So that is the end of the questions. Just saying about some of the comments about miss the bouncing of RFK.
I agree. I never got to be. I'm like eating at the same time, so please don't mind me. And choking a little bit on this kind bar.
On a what bar?
Kind bar.
Kind bar. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah. Have you ever had this before?
No.
Oh, they're great. They're great, but they're a little dry. So I'm over here dying a little bit. The bouncing stadiums at RFK, I never got to be a part of them. I was very young when I'd go to games. I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years old when I went to DC United games. So I'd be with like my parents and we'd be across from the bouncing stadiums or bouncing seats. But oh man, I miss those too. RFK would get like lit. It was crazy in that stadium.
Yeah, I'm gutted I'd never got the opportunity to go to a game at RFK because that would have been fantastic just to compare the two. But all I know is every game that I've been to at Audi has been awesome for atmosphere, the camaraderie, the support, and the views.
Yeah.
Great views.
Oh, it's a beautiful stadium. Beautiful stadium. You can't have a bad seat. And like that's me being like legit. Like no one's over here giving me a check to say that. Like it's a great stadium to like watch wherever. I think it's like a beautiful stadium.
I've been to bad stadiums.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the worst one I've been to. This is going back again quite a few years. Went to Southampton and their old stadium. So not their current stadium, but the stadium they had before that, which held like 15,000. The toilets were outside of the stadium. It was weird. And I actually had Southampton's goalkeeper at the time tell me to off. I wanted his autograph. Bruce Grobbelaar, the Zimbabwean goalkeeper. He told me to.
That's how you don't act as a player.
No. But yeah, literally, we got in the stand and I had a massive pillar in front of me. So I couldn't actually. And all the seats were full. So I couldn't move to another seat and I couldn't see the game. Great game. Someone's asking, have I been to Luton Town? No, but that's going to be hilarious if they get promoted into the Premier League. Have you seen their stadium?
I haven't. Oh, wait. I might have seen a TikTok on it.
Yes.
I think I saw a TikTok on it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I started seeing a little bit of it.
It's like, for an away supporter, you go down a residential street and you go through someone's back garden.
I hope that person is paid well for that to happen.
It's hilarious. It's a 10,000 seat stadium.
Wow.
In the middle of like this residential area, and yeah, it's funny, absolutely hilarious. It's going to be great seeing, like I said, if they get promoted, seeing Man City, Man United, Chelsea, all the like Liverpool and all that.
Humble those teams. Keep them humble.
Oh yeah, 100%. Why would you go? Someone said, why would you go to Luton? There is literally no other reason. Or maybe it's apart from the airport. But, you know, that's it. Coventry or Luton to go up. I'm going to say Luton. This is now getting into my area of expertise, Championship football. Mainly because I don't want Coventry to go up because they beat us in the playoff semi-final. So, and Luton Town have been better over the entire season compared to Coventry. Coventry were in the playoff positions for a matter of a few days, and they're in the playoff final. So it's when you do it is what matters.
Yeah.
And the team who got relegated were actually in the playoffs for longer than Coventry this season, and they got relegated.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. It's just bizarre. So, yeah, that is football or soccer, whichever we're going to call. And that is the last of the questions. So that means we need to reveal this week's trivia time question answer. So the second goal for DC in the opening match of the season. Who do you reckon, Claudia?
My initial thought, I'm going to go Clicky. I don't know if it was Clicky or not.
He scored the opening goal. With that goal from range.
Yeah.
That was an awesome goal. But it was Benteke's. It was Benteke's. Gooner Boy got that one right.
I didn't want to go the same way. I was like, let me pick someone different.
Yes, it was Benteke's. Well done to Gooner Boy for getting that one right. Hopefully we'll have more of the same, but less goals conceded.
Yep.
We want that. We'll get a win. And as I've been doing so far this season, I've been doing pre-game, halftime, and post-game chats on Instagram Live. So if you're not following at DCUK FC on Instagram, so come and join in the chats for those. I mean, I've had Sean on the chats, and even Taxi and came in on the text chat on it as well. I was mad. Weird seeing Taxi in there. I was like, all right, okay, that's very cool. But yeah, do come and join in on that one. Claudia, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me as always, and to everybody that joined the conversation. It's always great conversation with you. So happy to join you always.
And it's your hat trick appearance, so you never know, you might get a free t-shirt.
Woo! I would love that.
Let's get. This is one of my merchandise that you can get on the DCUK website.
Got great merchandise. You do. I always see you. I always see it pop up on my Twitter, Instagram, all the merchandise that you've got.
Yeah, I need to get myself a pint glass.
Yes, that's one thing that you're missing.
I do have it on the side, but I don't have one myself, and I need to get one.
Well, it's difficult for you to. You're gonna have to put water in it if you're getting up for 3 a.m. games. I don't know how much. Beers at 3 a.m. Yeah, at 3.
Yeah, damn right. I'm always chugging a couple of beers, watching the games.
Love it then.
Good old IPAs. So that's my drink of choice, and that's what I'll need to fill it with. But yeah, there we go. That is the end. Thank you, Claudia, for joining in. Thanks to everyone on the chat. It's been phenomenal, as always. And if you are listening after the show, please do give the show a little rating on Apple Podcasts. It helps. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. And leave this video a like as well. That would be great. So this show is the last one for a few weeks because I'm on holiday for a couple of weeks. So I'm off to Cyprus to go and get some sunshine.
Joy.
So yeah, we're going to go and enjoy that. And then we get a puppy after when we come back.
You're going to be busy. You're busy.
Yeah. So the next show is probably going to be around the 15th of June, so a few weeks away. So enjoy the little break from listening to my dulcet tones. But until next time, Vamos United!
Vamos United!
Swallowed on record, off record deals. Tell them tuck the collar for the quote. On record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost.